Hello, and thank you for joining me today. In this video I'm going to be reviewing the High Gear Habitat Universal Porch. Going to be looking at the good, the bad, and the reason why I eventually sold it. So, let's start with the good things about this porch. And number one has to be the amount of extra space it can give you. The space inside the porch is about the same size as the living area in our Zenobia 8 tent, and on longer trips we found this extra space to be an absolute godsend. Now for us, we attached this to our Zenobia 8 tent, which didn't already have a porch. So this space we use as our cooking area, as well as storing muddy shoes, storing our food, having our bin storage, our table in there, as well as some of our seating we'd put in there as well. And it makes for a great sort of halfway point between actually inside the tent and the outside. So if your tent doesn't already have a built-in porch, this is an excellent addition. I also love that there's 3 big windows in this porch, only one of them open here. The 2 side ones have the inbuilt curtains closed, which you can also close on the front one as well, which is really handy. I also love the fact that it's the same material as our High Gear Zenobia 8 tent, and it's actually the same material as most blue High Gear tents. So if you've got a blue High Gear tent, this will match perfectly. I don't think my OCD would allow me to have a different colour porch to my tent. That may not be important to some people, but it's definitely going to make a difference to others. The final good thing about this Habitat porch is the fact that it will fit most tunnel tents. It has a fair bit of adjustment, so if you have a tunnel tent with a side entrance that you're able to stand up inside, chances are this Habitat porch will fit it. Right, time to move on to the bad things about this Habitat Universal Porch. The pegs that come with the porch are rubbish. They're the most basic steel pegs that bend with even the hint of a bit of firm ground, or over-exuberance with the mallet. I was quite disappointed because the pegs that came with our Zenobia 8 tent were actually fairly good, and I thought this might come with a similar set, but unfortunately not, and after one use I actually went out and bought a set of better pegs for this. My second gripe is about the door. It's a quite larger door, which is nice because you can be open to the elements when you want to be. But it is either open or closed, there's no middle ground. If the weather's not perfect and you sort of want the door open enough to pop in and out, but you don't want to be fully open to the elements, we found ourselves just unzipping one side like this, but then it flaps about in the wind. A lot of tents with larger doors will have the option to sort of half open it, or maybe have a small door in the middle of it. Certainly not a game changer, but it is something that I think could be improved. The final 2 bad things that I have to say about the Habitat porch are not specific to this porch. They're actually about all sort of porches or extensions to any tent. The first of these is the extra time it takes up to set up the porch. Once you've set up your main tent, you have another thing that you have to set up, and this can take as long as setting up the main tent itself. Although there's only 2 poles in the Habitat porch, it actually took me probably the same amount of time as it did the main tent to put up. Because you're attaching 2 tents together essentially, there's a lot of faffing about and adjustment, and it just takes more time than putting up a single tent. And the second bad thing about this porch, which again can affect all porches of this style, is that once attached to the side of your existing tunnel tent, you get a sort of a T-shaped configuration. The space either side of the porch is taken up with guy lines, and so is really unusable space. This isn't a problem if you're on a campsite without designated pitches and with plenty of space. But if you're on a campsite that has, say, a 10 by 10 metre pitch, which is quite usual on sort of a holiday campsite, and you're also expected to park your car on that pitch, you can easily find yourself with no outside space, which when you're camping is a bit naff, let's be honest. But like I said, this affects all porches that are sort of side mounted like this, and not particular to the Habitat porch. Overall, this is a very good porch. If you have a tunnel tent without an inbuilt porch and you're looking for something like this is a great option, especially if you have the High Gear blue tent as we do. So, if it's such a good porch, why did I sell it? Well, it comes down to those bad points that are generic to any side mounted porch. The fact that it's an extra faff to put up, and the fact that you have this sort of wasted space at either side of the porch where the guidelines are. Having young children means it's important to us to be able to set the tent up quickly, and we also normally take a summer holiday in a sort of holiday campsite, so it's important to us that we use the space on our designated pitch the best way that we can. After using the Habitat porch on the side of our Zenobia 8, we certainly couldn't go back to having the tent without the porch, without having this middle ground between in and out of the tent, and having somewhere to cook when the weather's not great. So it actually made us rethink our whole tent. And because of this, we actually got rid of the Zenobia 8 tent and the porch, and we bought another tent with a built-in porch instead. And if you've watched my other videos, you'll know that we swapped for this Hampton 8 Nightfall tent, again by High Gear. This offers the same sleeping capacity of 8 people, but has this built-in porch on the front. It uses 5 poles, just like the Zenobia 8 tent. So we can put this up in the same amount of time that it took to put up the Zenobia 8, but we have this built-in porch on the front. So that saves us having to get the extra porch out and put that up as well. So that's the main reason. It saved us a lot of time. And you can also see that the space here is a lot better used. It's not a funny T-shape, it's just a straightforward rectangle. So we're able to maximise the space on any pitch that we might have. To sum up, the Habitat Universal Porch is a great one. And if you're dead set on having a side porch, this is a great option for you. But I would buy some decent pegs along with the porch. If you're willing, however, and it's an option, I would definitely consider trading in your existing tent and buying one with an inbuilt porch, to save the hassle of having an extra bag and an extra thing to put up when you get to the campsite, and also to make better use of that space. Thank you for watching. If you've watched the video to this point, I'm going to take it that you've enjoyed it and found it useful, so please do give it a like and think about subscribing. It really does help the channel, and I've got some more camping videos planned. Take care and happy camping.